Welcome to the deep dive. Some games, they really aren't just about strategy or skill, are they?
Not at all. Sometimes they become these flashpoints where huge global ideas clash.
And the stakes are just way, way higher than any title.
Exactly. It's often about, the human element, individual genius, or maybe just sheer defiance, changing everything.
But that brings us perfectly to our deep dive today. We're looking at the life of Bobby Fischer, probably the most enigmatic figure in chess history. Just fascinating.
Absolutely. And we're focusing on two really key moments.
Yeah, two pivotal times. First, that legendary 1972 World Chess Championship, which, it basically exploded into a full-blown Cold War battleground on a chessboard.
Incredible time.
And then years later, something maybe less known, but just as radical, his attempt to fundamentally, save chess itself.
Right, with Fischer Random.
Exactly. So our mission here is to unpack how this one guy, his genius, his refusal to just conform, how that reshaped a whole sport.
And left this huge mark on history, and importantly, on the future of the game, too.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Let's go back. Reykjavik, Iceland, 1972.
You can almost, feel that tension in the air. Because this wasn't just, a World Chess Championship.
No way. It was a direct proxy fight. U.S. versus the Soviet Union. Cold War stuff.
And you really have to grasp how important chess was to the Soviets. It was deep in their identity.
More than just a game for them.
Oh, absolutely. It was a showcase. Intellectual power, national pride. They'd held the world title for decades. It was almost like their thing.
So their champion, Boris Spassky, a win for him would, reaffirm the whole Soviet system?
Pretty much. It showed the strength, the discipline, the collective might they valued. Spassky represented all that. Cold-blooded, traditional, super discipline.
And then you have Fischer, the American challenger.
The complete opposite in many ways, this raw American genius. Erratic, definitely a rule breaker.
But unbelievably talented.
Undeniably. And he wasn't just challenging Spassky over the board, he was challenging the whole Soviet chess establishment, off the board too.
So the stakes were just astronomical.
Couldn't be higher, really. If Fischer wins, the West celebrates it as, individualism triumphing over the collective.
And if Spassky wins?
It reinforces the Soviet narrative. Their system is superior, their intellect prevails. It was symbolic warfare on 64 squares. Global bragging rights, basically.
And the drama, it kicked off even before they played, right? Fischer almost didn't even show up.
Yeah, that was crazy. Just days before the match, he refused to go to Iceland, demanded more money.
Wow, that must have caused chaos.
Huge international incident, nearly canceled the whole thing. And it makes you wonder, right? Was it just Fischer being difficult, or was it...
Psychological warfare. Already starting the mind games.
Maybe. Trying to rattle Spassky, rattle the Soviets. And then you get this high-level political stuff involved.
You mean Henry Kissinger?
Yeah, the U.S. Secretary of State himself gets on the phone, calls Fischer personally.
What did he say?
The instruction was direct. Quote, "Go beat the Russian."
No way. That says it all, doesn't it?
Let me see.
The pressure.
Tells you everything about how much weight this match carried politically.
So, okay, the match finally starts. Did things calm down then?
Huh. Not a chance. Fischer loses the first game. Okay, fair enough. But then game 2, he just doesn't turn up.
He boycotted.
Protested the cameras, said the noise, the lights, they bothered him.
Seriously. Over cameras.
Yep. So Spassky gets the point by default. Suddenly, he's up 2-0. Imagine the headlines.
Unbelievable. And the demands didn't stop there.
Oh, no. For game 3, Fischer insists they play in this tiny back room. Away from the main stage, no spectators.
This is bizarre. Did they agree?
They did, which kind of shows you the power Fischer had even then. His demands were, often met because everyone knew how important this match was. Couldn't let it collapse.
And then there's the bug thing, the chairs.
Right, that was peak paranoia. The Soviets dramatically claimed Fischer's chair was bugged, electronic devices planted inside.
So what happened?
They actually took the chairs apart, searched them with electromagnetic equipment. Found absolutely nothing.
Wow. Just shows the atmosphere, the suspicion.
Total desperation, maybe, looking for any edge, any excuse. It was pure theater, really.
A spectacle far beyond just the chess moves. But okay, despite all that, the boycotts, the demands, the chair fiasco, what was the actual result on the board?
In the end, Fischer was just too strong. He won decisively. 12.5 points to Spassky's 8.5.
Shattering decades of Soviet dominance.
Just like that, he became the world chess champion. A massive moment, historically. Individual brilliance against this huge established system.
So after that incredible win in '72, you'd think Fischer would be on top of the world, global superstar.
That's what everyone expected. Endorsements, fame.
But that's not what happened at all.
Nope, he just vanished. After becoming champion, he basically disappeared from public life for years.
Became like a ghost.
That's what people called him, a ghost. No interviews, no tournaments, nothing. Just gone.
But even though he was gone, he was still watching chess.
Apparently so. He kept tabs on the game. And by the early 90s, he was deeply troubled by what he saw.
What was the problem?
He felt chess wasn't about creativity anymore. Not really. It had become, in his view, just a memory contest.
Like who could memorize the most opening moves?
Exactly. Endless preparation of the same openings, the same lines, players relying on recall, not original thought right at the start.
He called it a lifeless script, didn't he?
Yeah, that's his phrase. Like everyone was just playing out pre-programmed moves. He even said, and this is a direct quote, "Chess is no longer creative. Opening theory has killed it. The game is dying."
Wow. The world champion saying the game he mastered is dying.
That's powerful. It really is. He felt it had lost its soul, become too predictable.
But Fischer being Fischer, he wasn't just going to complain. He wanted to fix it.
Always the disruptor. He came up with this radical plan to bring back the art, the creativity.
And that's Fischer Random Chess, or Chess960.
That's the one. He unveiled it pretty quietly in 1996. The idea itself is ingenious, really.
How does it work exactly?
So you take the back rank pieces, rooks, knights, bishops, queen, king, everything but the pawns, and you shuffle their starting positions randomly.
Well, semi-randomly.
Yeah.
There are rules. The bishops have to be on opposite colored squares, for instance, and crucially, the king always ends up somewhere between the two rooks.
Oh.
So you can still castle? That special king move?
Exactly. Castling is preserved. But there are 960 possible starting positions for those pieces, hence Chess960.
And the impact of that, it just blows up all the standard opening memorization.
Completely. All those books, all those memorized lines, useless, because the starting position is almost always different.
Now, only real talent will win, I think he said.
That was his declaration. You have to think for yourself right from move one. No hiding behind memorized theory. It forces, as he put it, pure chess.
Just raw calculation, intuition, creativity.
From the very beginning.
How was it received at first? Were people keen?
Not really. Initially, a lot of top players, grandmasters, were pretty skeptical.
Resistant to changing a game with centuries of history, maybe?
Probably. Dismissed it as just another one of Fischer's eccentric ideas. But, time passed.
And opinions changed.
Dramatically. Fast forward a couple of decades, and you have players like Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, embracing it.
What did Carlsen say?
He said something like, "It actually feels like playing real chess." Which is amazing, right? It echoes exactly what Fischer was trying to achieve.
Bringing back that true spirit of the game.
Precisely. And today, Chess960 or Fischer Random, it's not just some weird variant anymore.
It has official tournaments.
Yep, big ones with top players. It's got a growing fan base, serious support from the chess elite. Fischer's eccentric vision is now, a respected part of the chess landscape.
It's incredible. He managed to shake up the chess world profoundly, not once, but twice.
Yeah, first by just playing the game at this unbelievable level, shattering that Soviet dominance.
And then years later, by trying to save the game itself, by changing its fundamental rules.
Because for him, chess wasn't just post. It wasn't just a competition, it was art. And art needs creativity, not just memory.
So, reflecting on all this deep dive into Fischer, it really leaves you with some big questions, doesn't it?
For sure. Like, was he fundamentally a genius, or was he just erratic? Maybe both.
And those demands, the behavior, was it just his personality? Or was it a deliberate psychological game? A strategy?
It's hard to say for sure. And that 1972 match, was it just sport? Or was it really, like we said, an indirect war on a chessboard?
A reflection of the times?
Absolutely. And then the big mystery, why did he just walk away after 1975? Forfeit his title instead of defending it?
Still debated today, passionately.
But his story, I think, offers something powerful for you listening.
How so?
Well, think about how one person's deep conviction, their refusal to just go along with things.
Whether it's in a huge geopolitical fight like '72,
or in trying to fix something they love like he did with chess, how that single person can genuinely shake up an entire field.
It makes you think about rules, structures, and when they help versus when they maybe stifle creativity.
Right, that balance between structure and freedom. Fischer really forces you to confront that. He challenged everything for what he believed was the integrity, the art of the game.
Yeah, he forced people to rethink what genius even looks like. Sometimes it's not neat and tidy.
Not at all.
So maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. If a game like chess, right, hundreds of years of tradition, if that could be revitalized by someone radically rethinking its basic rules,
Yeah.
well, what other systems or creative fields, maybe even parts of our own lives or industries, might feel a bit stuck, a bit dying, like Fischer felt chess was?
Then are just waiting for someone to step up.
Exactly, waiting for someone to challenge the status quo and maybe propose a completely new way to play the game.
Something to definitely mull over.
Until our next deep dive.